welcome to another episode of Storytime with Scary-ish Podcast.
Woo!
Where we read you homegrown horrors that Adam will explain to you what they are.
I'm Adam Diaz. This is Robin Grace, and she's doing a terrible intro because she's fighting off a sneeze right now. But yes, homegrown horrors are the spiritual, paranormal, creepy, kooky, coincidental, and sometimes just, you were wrong. Stories that you've experienced or your friends or family have experienced that you choose to share with us. And Robin, if folks have a story like that, where can they send it?
You can go to scaryish.com and go to our Contact Us page. And on that Contact Us page, there's a little form you can fill out and it'll send us your emails. Or you can email us directly at storytime@scaryish.com.
Indeed. You can also hit us up on our social medias, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you want to find those, you can go to our scaryish.com website. Has links to all of them. Insta is at Scary-ish Podcast. Twitter is at Scary-ish Pod.
Cool.
And Facebook is facebook.com/Scary-ish Podcast.
That's a lot of social media.
Yep. Decided I was going to do all of them. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and read 4 of these wonderful stories that have been sent into us tonight. And for those of you who are watching live right now, it is 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Wednesday, and we just want to thank you for joining us. Shout out to everyone in the YouTube and in Twitch. It's youtube.com/Scary-ish and twitch.tv/Scary-ish Podcast. If you ever want to join us, we would appreciate it. And right now, if you're on Twitch, you can subscribe to the channel for $2.50, which is half the price of normal. It goes directly to us. It supports us. And if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can actually do that using Jeff Bezos' money and not your own once a month. And we appreciate every single one of you who does it. Robin, for those folks who are like, you know what? I have Amazon Prime and I have a Twitch account. How can I link those things?
You can go to twitch.amazon.com, or if you go to scaryish.com, there are literally links down at the bottom of our page that will help you connect your Twitch to your Amazon. Or if you don't have Amazon Prime, you can get 30 days of free Amazon Prime and do it that way too. So lots of stuff on our website you can check out.
Right on. Good stuff. So I think I'm going to be leading the way tonight when it comes to the emails. So my first one is called Haunted House and Visiting Spirits. This is from someone who I recognize because it is my cousin.
Oh, nice.
Shout out to Turn the Page 08 who just resubscribed for the second month using their Amazon Prime linked to Twitch. The message is, woo. I try not to do them too loud when they're in the messages, but thank you so much. We appreciate you. And this one starts out like this. I thought I sent these to you, but I couldn't find it. I love your show, cousin. This is my cousin, Alexis. Listen on iTunes, playing catch-up, listening to episode 16. I think as an update, she posted something in our Spooky Friends group today, and she's on Storytime like 67.
Oh, okay, cool.
So she's gone through a lot.
Yeah.
So this is true dedication, and I appreciate it, and I love you. It goes on to say, I have a few stories, fairly short. Feel free to share. The first was told to me, but I do recall some of it. Number 1. This was when I was around 3 or 4 and would be an early memory of mine. My parents built their first house. My grandmother's dog couldn't separate herself from me, so she would stay at the house with us. She would lay in the hallway corner between my room and my parents' room right next to it and face the closet in my parents' room, which was located right behind the bedroom door. She would have the low growl and her hair would stand up on end. This went on for a while. So this dog is like playing guard dog, staring at an empty closet. That's super creepy. I remember hearing a lady crying and sweeping, the sound of a broom on concrete.
That's weird.
At one point, I remember asking why the lady was crying. My mom yelled at the sound of the lady to, quote, get out of our house. You're scaring my daughter. We had no more ghosts after that. I love the idea of someone just being like, fuck off, ghost, and the ghost being like, oh, wow, they're not screwing around. I'm going to get out of here. So that is fucking amazing.
Yeah, sometimes the power of a mom can
power
scare the
of mom
bejesus
anger,
out of you.
That'll do it. All right, moving on. Number 2. My grandmother passed in 1994. The morning she passed, she came to my mom in a dream. My mom told her that we would be fine. Mom woke up to the phone ringing. It was my grandfather calling that Oma had passed. I woke up crying as I figured what happened, and 6 a.m. is too early for a social call. Oma was also an avid reader of the occult, reincarnation, and ghosts and believed in it all. For months after her passing, Mom and I kept smelling lavender, but we never spoke of it to each other. About 6 months later, I was folding laundry again, and I smelled lavender on the washcloths.
Wow.
No other bit of laundry, just the washcloths. I then asked my mom to smell it, and she said it smelled like lavender, and not any lavender, Yardley's English lavender, my grandmother's favorite. The washcloths were from a previous story from when my grandmother was helping her dog give birth back in the 1960s and used, quote, face cloths. Wow. Only me and my mom would know that. My stepdad smelled nothing. He thought we were crazy. We thought it was the laundry soap. But in 1994, there was no lavender-scented laundry soap. My mom and I looked at each other and said it was Oma. Once we acknowledged her, we no longer smelled lavender.
Aww.
She always told us she would let us know if there was life after death. That is
so once she got
sweet.
the message through, she's like, I'm done. Okay,
Yeah,
see you
I'm
guys
going to go
later.
chill out
Peace
now.
out.
Thank you so much.
Drop
That's
the
so
mic.
funny. I don't know about mic drop, but that's pretty awesome. The next 3 are all part of the same story in sequence. So here we go. 3. I strongly believe my mom came to me the day she passed. It's so sad, and I'm so sorry for your loss. Yeah. I know it's like our loss technically, but it's your loss more than anything. I was driving to work one day, and I smelled smoke in the car. It was cigarette smoke. I haven't smoked in years, and there was no smoking in my car. I looked into the rearview mirror and didn't see anything, but immediately knew my mom was there. I told her, I know it's you. We'll be okay. I'll suck, but we'll be okay. You can go. I love you. After a few seconds, there was no more smoke smell. This all took place in about a mile of me driving at about 6:30 a.m. 2 hours later, my aunt called to say my mom had passed away.
Wow.
A few months later, my husband was offered a job. This is number 4. But we wanted to check out the area before making a final decision, so we made a trip cross-country. Along the way, I saw a sign at a restaurant and told my husband to turn around and look at the sign that said, Mona Motor Oil. My mom's name was Ramona, nicknamed Mona.
Wow.
We stayed a town over from where we would be moving, about 70 miles away. On the way to meet my husband's soon-to-be boss, we heard 3 songs that were either a favorite song or an artist my mom liked. Once we arrived, we were shown 2 houses and given the option of either for housing. They were the same, but when we walked through the second house, I had a flash of my grandparents, in parentheses my mom's parents, who are both deceased, and the house they moved into in 1991 in Florida. Other than the fact it's all one level, there's really no similarities. After discussing all this with my husband, we agreed it was my mom, Oma, and Opa telling me it was okay. Number 5. A month or so later, my husband and I were packing up the house as we were moving across the country. Yes, he accepted the job. In the days, it's funny because I'm like, well, of course, I already know that. I follow you on Facebook and we keep in touch. And It's like, well, no one else knows this. All right, so he accepted the job. In the days leading up to us leaving, the kitchen cabinets would keep opening overnight or when we left the house. We each thought the other one opened the cabinets. It became a joke between us the last few days. The cabinets were empty. It wasn't always the same doors either. Top and bottom cabinets fully open or partially open. Day 1 was all the doors, and as the week progressed, the number of doors open decreased. It got to where we asked that the doors stay closed. 1 or 2 were opened after, but not in any frequency as before.
Imagine if you ask it to stay closed and then you can't open them.
Yeah, it's like someone's just messing with you at that point.
Now
It's
they
like,
just hold them shut.
This is what you asked me to do. But eventually it became nothing. I can't explain it, but keep on creeping on, Alexis. Thank you so much for sending that in, cuz. I really, really appreciate it. I don't know how you deal with it, but you deal with it in such a wonderful way. I know my mom lives with us, so it's something that I really can't imagine, but it's awesome to know that she's still there and she's still letting you know that everything's going to be okay. And it's really nice to know that you can like say the same thing back to her. So it's pretty awesome. I really appreciate you sending that in. It's really nice having support from friends and family especially. So.
Yeah. It's so nice when family's so supportive because doing this is hard. And I don't think if I don't think we'd be able to do it if we didn't have the support of so many friends and family.
Yeah. I've had a lot of support and I've had a lot of backhanded compliments at the same time. And I'm like, I'm just going to pretend like it was a full compliment because that's all you can really do. It's like the fact that you have to acknowledge that I'm really doing something and that there are people supporting me that aren't my friends or family. Like it's enough for me to be like, at least they said something. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's pretty awesome that you support us and it's pretty amazing that your mom is still there supporting you. So, all right.
The next email we're going to read is titled, My God Sister's Hospital Experience.
It's a pretty good subject.
Hospitals kind of freak me out. I've never really had to be in one, so I'm kind of...
I haven't had to have a prolonged stay in one. I've visited a lot of people in them, so I think I've gotten over my whole being freaked out by them thing.
I've only been to the ER area. Like, there's the waiting room, then you go inside and you do all that stuff in the ER. I've only been there. I've never had a room upstairs or anything. It sounds really scary.
You mean your personal experience, right?
Right, that's my personal experience. My friend's been in the hospital that I've gone to visit, and he's the only person I've ever visited in the hospital.
It's not true, but I'm not going to talk about it because I don't want to give away your family history.
I'm just like, I don't okay. Hi, Robert and Adam. My name's Michelle.
Hello, Michelle.
I recently discovered your podcast about a week ago, and it's all I've been listening to while at work. I'm kind of addicted. Good. I'm glad you're addicted.
It's a good thing to be addicted to, I hope.
I hope you're a sucker for us. I love that Jonas Brothers song. It's so good. Personally, I've not yet, hopefully never, experienced any paranormal or weird things, but I have friends and family who have. So this story is about an experience my god sister Louise had. Oh, I know what you're talking about with the whole hospital thing. I do remember now. It was my mom. It's not a big deal. Anyway, so this story is about an experience my god sister Louise had while working a graveyard shift at a hospital. A little bit of background about my god sister. Her and her older sister have always been sensitive, quote unquote sensitive, to ghosts and spirits and the like as kids. They've had their share of experiences when they lived in the Philippines, and in fact, their parents, out of desperation, have even resorted to seeking help from a witch doctor to try to heal her older sister.
They called the witch doctor, and he told them what to do.
Ooh,
I was going to tell them the rest later, but you took it.
Okay, because she was plagued with nightmares and visions as a child. This witch doctor told him... Sorry, I told them what to know. This witch doctor told them that her third eye was open, and that was why she was seeing all these things. Anyway, they both grew out of it, and after they moved to Canada, they never experienced anything odd or unusual.
I guess Canada is completely free and clear of all supernatural
We get a lot of
entities.
stories from the Philippines, though.
We do. We have a pretty
happen.
big following, I would say, over there in the
I
Philippines.
think in Southeast Asia, there's a lot of stories, and people really believe in those types of things. And I think that's why there are more stories in places like that than somewhere like Canada.
I think it's more accepted in the culture, so you don't have to feel like you're mocked if you experience something.
Right.
So people freely exchange stories there because it's more part of the culture than the skepticism that I think really exists within, like, especially North American culture, where it's like, I've never seen that, so therefore I think you're a liar. So until something happens to someone, then instantly they're a true believer. So, yeah.
Did that just say kill Zach? But anyway, they both grew out of it. And read that part. Sorry, moved to Canada, until my god sister worked graveyard shifts at the hospital. She worked as an LPN. I don't know what that is.
Something nurse.
Loss
prevention nurse.
No. Someone tell us what LPN means, because I'm really curious. I've heard of RNs. I think I've heard of APNs, but that just might be something.
Heard of APR.
Heard of NPR. But yeah, nurses out there, let us know. I mean, if that means nurse in some way.
Someone out there, let us know what LPN stands for.
There was a patient she took care of for a while until the patient passed away in their hospital room. Another patient, a woman who had advanced cancer, was subsequently placed in that same room. A few days later, the woman suffered a cardiac arrest, and doctors immediately made attempts to resuscitate her. After a few minutes, she actually flatlined and was declared clinically dead, but a mere few seconds later, her heart began to beat again and she lived. This is where my god sister comes in. It was around 2 a.m. when the woman pressed the nurse call button. My god sister Louise was the one who responded to the call. The woman complained that it was noisy in her room. Louise, confused, told her calmly that there is no noise apart from the beeping of the machines, but the woman kept insisting that it was noisy. Louise didn't hear such a noise, but reassured her that it must have been the ventilation and that it should quiet down soon. Louise checked her vitals, making sure everything was normal, and left. After a while, the woman buzzed again and complained again that it was really loud and she had difficulty sleeping. Louise was hugely perplexed by this because it's so quiet at nearly 3 a.m. in the hospital. Of course it's 3 a.m.
Right. What other time would it be?
The woman then told her that there were a lot of people talking in her room and she wanted to get them to leave so she could sleep. Louise, kind of freaking out, called for another nurse to come in. The woman was annoyed by the loudness of people chatting in her room, and Louise and the other nurse did their best to explain to her that there was no other people in her room.
Well, you know what'll help this situation? More people.
And that no one was talking aside from them. And then suddenly the woman asked, "Did somebody die in this room recently?" Louise and the other nurse looked at each other. I have chills. You can't see because, well, you can't see anyway.
She's wearing one of our sweaters for those listeners who are listening and not watching with your eyeballs on YouTube and Twitch.
Louise and the other nurse looked at each other, totally weirded out by the whole thing, and said yes. The woman then proceeded to describe the previous patient who had died in that room in detail, despite the fact that the woman and the previous patient had never met.
Hello.
And then she said that the previous patient was standing next to Louise, about an arm's length away. Louise and the other nurse looked over and saw nothing, but obviously they got a little spooked after that. Some weeks later, the woman died from complications from cancer, and that's that. It must have been because she died and then was
Came
brought
back.
back, and so now she has that
The old
connection.
Constantine effect. Oh,
Yeah.
no, wait. He killed himself because he was seeing things
right.
anyways.
He killed himself because he was seeing stuff. But I think this is something where she's been to the other side, so she has that connection now that she's back, and she's
Right.
always. It's like in Vampire Diaries.
No,
when
we're not talking about that. God, why do you always bring Vampire Diaries or Buffy or Supernatural or Friends? Ugh. Can we talk about Ghost Town, the one with Ricky Gervais, where he goes in for a regular, like, routine procedure, and he dies, and he comes back, and he can see ghosts, and of course he makes friends with Greg Kinnear? That's a good example.
Anyway, I guess that works. My god sister told me that woman,
I thought you were for sure still going to tell your example. What happens in Vampire Diaries?
her brother, what's her name? Oh, the main character's name. Oh my gosh. What is her name?
You are just losing your Vampire
I
Diaries
know.
street cred right now. Elena?
Elena. Yeah,
Wow.
Elena's brother.
This dude just takes your Vampire Diaries card. I'm going to put that right there.
Her brother dies.
Jeremy?
Dies. And he can start seeing all these ghosts. So he sees like his ex-girlfriends, multiple.
Multiple ex-girlfriends for a kid who's still in high school who are dead.
Hey, you must have dated more than one person in high school.
They weren't dead by the time I was a sophomore.
It's Vampire Diaries. It's a TV show. It's
You're
a town full of
absolutely right.
vampires.
And dead people, apparently.
Yeah. Lots and lots of dead people. So much murder in that show. Anyway, continuing on.
Let's finish this up.
My god sister told me that the woman must have been hearing and seeing dead people because she died too. Oh, there you go. For a few seconds, but came back to life. But I don't really know what to conclude from that. All I know is that weird things certainly happen in hospitals. Thanks for reading, Michelle.
I would
Thank you so
agree.
much for sharing.
Really creepy stuff can happen in hospitals sometimes. I went to a chapel one time to pray for someone who was really sick, and I just really felt like there were a bunch of people in there with me, and it was totally empty. And after that, I don't think I've ever been into the chapel within a hospital since then.
I think so much death goes through those types of institutions that you just can't avoid
Right.
ghosts.
It's like only a matter of time before like a hospital will shut down and not get knocked down, and then someone will come in and turn it into like an apartment complex, and then we'll eventually be telling that story in like episode 1000, because it's only a matter of time before a real estate developer's like, you know what, I had a really awful idea I want to make real, just like that Poltergeist movie.
just like Jurassic Park in real life, China.
I mean, it's not just like, but I get your point. All right, so I'm going to move into my second one of the show and my final one of the evening. The subject is my EVP story. Now, I was told there is an audio file that accompanies this. When we get to that part, I'm going to stop reading. We're going to listen to what is referenced. And for those of you who are watching live, I don't know if you'll get the audio. We'll try and do our best. For those of you listening, which is most of you, I'll cut it in so it'll be, just fine. But we'll hear it together. Starts out like this. Hello there.
Hello there.
Sup? My name is Ricky, and I'd like to share a story about the time me and a buddy of mine, Matt, decided to start a little ghost hunting group and captured a truly remarkable EVP.
Do you like to go fast?
That's the first thing I thought, too. Matt and I were both in our early 20s about 14 years ago and became friends through our job working at a local grocery store in our town. The TV paranormal shows were all the rage then, and we had discussed doing a little amateur ghost hunting ourselves after getting off of work at nights, which was usually between midnight and 1 a.m. We bought some audio recorders, a K2 meter, in parentheses, EMF detector, and some other things to get started. All we needed now was a location. Another coworker of ours had suggested we go to this abandoned house where him and his buddies would go play airsoft guns, because as we all know, any abandoned house must be haunted. So that is where we started, and it became the go-to spot for our little group that had grown to maybe 6 guys, including us by this point.
That's cool.
It is pretty cool. The 2-story house wasn't even that old or even spooky looking. It was just the one place we knew we could go. So on one particular night, Matt was setting up the cheap little camera we had, and our group, which consisted of about 5 guys that night, was waiting for the arrival of one of our other friends to join. It is highly important to point out that we were the only males present that night. Unbeknownst to the rest of the group, Matt had decided to turn on his audio recorder and leave it sitting on the porch of the house while we were all standing around waiting for our other friend to arrive. Once our friend arrived, we started our quote-unquote investigation and ended the night and went home. The following night around 3 a.m., I received a call from my buddy Matt, of course it's 3 a.m., saying we had captured an incredible EVP on his audio recorder while everyone was just waiting around. He played it for me over the phone, and I was shocked. Shocked to the point of telling him I wanted to hear it from the straight from the audio recorder myself at work the following day to be sure I wasn't being joked with. Attached is the portion of the audio recording pulled straight from the recorder itself. Around 35 seconds in, you can clearly hear a female's voice come through and speak.
That's so weird.
It looks like it's going to start describing the sound. So what I'm going to do is bring this up, put it to 35 seconds. So let's listen. Okay, so I understand.
Distinctly heard "Save Us."
Yeah, I understand now why they say it's important that you know that it was a sausage fest. It was all bros, because that definitely sounded like a female. And I'll keep going because there's some words in bold, and I think it's going to reference what was just heard. There are 3 distinct sections to what she is saying. Immediately following a friend of mine saying something about sweeping the house, in parentheses, checking for animals and such, with Patrick, she comes in saying, "Save us," then a pause, "please," then a pause, "we're not dangerous."
I have chills, legitimately. EVPs are one of the things that scare me the most.
I will say, I'm looking over into our stream chat right now to see if folks were actually able to hear it. It looks like they were. And someone said, I thought the EVP said peace, no peace, which is even creepier. I will say, I'm skeptical because it sounded so good. You know what I mean? Like, the female voice came through, and it's because I've listened to a lot of EVPs because of that friggin' EVP episode, and that female voice came through a lot clearer.
It sounded the same volume as the rest.
It sounded clearer than most of the EVP stuff I've heard when it comes to just people talking in the EVPs, not even like the ghost sounds or whatever. But all right, let's keep going with the email and see what you have to say on this, because this is your words. They go on to say, this is my interpretation. The "we're not dangerous" part seems to get many different interpretations. I will state that this EVP is extremely clear and vocal to the point that anyone I've let listen to it believes it is fake or I am joking with them. I understand I had my doubts when I listened to it myself. Hell, I still have my doubts because of its clarity. Okay, I'm very glad that was addressed. I'm a natural skeptic and have no idea what to make of what we captured, but I do know and swear by certain things to be true of that night and this recording. 1. There were only 5 males present at the time of the recording. No females could have spoken. 2. The clip was pulled directly off of the audio recorder itself by me. 3. The audio recorder used did not use tapes for storage. The storage was internal, eliminating audio contamination possibilities. Once you hear the clip, you will understand why the small number of people who have heard the clip are skeptical. Check out the clip and listen for yourselves. It happens around the 35-second mark of the whole clip. If you all think this is cool, interesting, or scary-ish, you can absolutely feel free to share it, discuss it, or whatever you'd like. Just wanted to share what is, in my opinion, one of the better EVPs I have ever had, period. For someone who's a massive skeptic like myself, this is one personal experience that has boggled me. Enjoy. The attached clip is indeed titled House1234.mp3 because of the laziness of 21-year-old me. That is amazing.
It's pretty hilarious.
That is the end of it.
EVPs freak me out. And that definitely, to me, was so ridiculously clear. And it was so clear that it was a woman. You know, it's obviously not some guy with a falsetto voice doing it. If it is 5 dudes in a room.
If it is, they nailed it. I'm just saying. And so, like, it does activate my skepticism. Let's play it one more time just to hear it. For anyone who's like, I kind of want to listen to it again. That way you don't have to rewind. So let's take a break. Or not take a break. Hang on. I'm going to hit play. And we're going to rewind. And we're going to listen to it one more time. I definitely hear "save us, please," and that's that last part.
You can hear like the sobbing though too.
Do you hear sobbing?
Okay, so before she says "save us," you hear like a breath intake or something like that of like someone that's breathing really heavily or just like the crying sound. I don't know.
Like the intermittent breaths when you're crying, when your lip is quivering, like
yeah.
Like those ones?
Yeah.
It's definitely very, very clear. I don't know if you made that in your garage. I don't know if this is a farce, but I kind of enjoyed it. Please don't send us a bunch of fake shit for people who are like, well, I'm going to send you some ridiculous shit.
I'm just remembering how stupid I was as a kid trying to hold in my sobs.
That's funny. What I remember is our EVP episode when I made fake EVPs to play for you.
So Glitch brought up like we're calling about your warranty or something.
I was so proud of myself for that joke, and I was like, and no one said anything the next day. I'm always like, I really hope people will enjoy the episode, and usually people will say something about the episode. No one referenced it like at all. So, all right, that was really good. I appreciate that. That's a really good one to end on for myself. We have one more to go, so awesome.
This last email of the night is from what I assume is Abby, ABI, and is titled, you can read this on the podcast if you want to. It's being read on the podcast. Hello. Disclaimer, the story is long and kind of sad, so I understand if you didn't read this. But we are, so here we go. Hello, Adam and Robin.
Hello.
My name is Abby. I've sent you my first ever paranormal / spooky story, and I thank you guys for reading it. I really cherish that episode. You guys are truly one of a kind. Okay, now on to the story. The story happened when I was graduating from high school and still looking for a university to go to. At one night, around 8 p.m.-ish, I forgot the exact date and time on this story. I was going to my friend's house, and I got back home at around 4 a.m. Yes, I know that's so late, and I'm kind of a guy that can't sleep while the moon is up, and I saw my dad laying on the couch. And this isn't an unusual sight, so I just ignore him and head straight to bed. At around 5 a.m., my mother woke me up and yelling, "Oh my God, he's gone, he's gone."
Oh, God. That's the first thing I thought when you said that, because you said it was going to be sad.
Oh, God, okay. And after I can process those words, I ran to the couch. Oh my God, no, I don't want to read it. Oh, my heart. I ran to the couch and saw that my dad was not alive anymore. That's so sad.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
so sorry.
Incredibly sad and traumatizing.
I still didn't believe what I just saw. I kept shouting, "Dad, wake up," at my lifeless dad. The doctor that was in my neighborhood that checks on him said that my dad passed away around 4 a.m. Oh my God, because my dad's still watching a soccer match with my other neighbors until 3. This is the coincidence part. So a couple months has passed. I suddenly remembered something. When I got back from my friend's house, I was listening to music on my earphones. It's because I ride a motorcycle. And when I was near my house, the song that played on my phone was from a K-pop girl band called Miss A. And the song title is Breathe. The riff of the song is, "Oh, oh, oh, I can't breathe." Yeah, the song was telling me that my dad was dying.
Wow.
That is so... Oh, I have chills.
Just going to go ahead and break in to let you know that Aljabar, one of our listeners over there on YouTube, just said, "Hey, it's my story. Oh no, I didn't expect this. This is very sad. Thank you for sending this to us.
Thank you so much.
I'm very
for
glad
sending
that
it
you're
in.
here to watch us read it."
To this day, I'll never forget what happened that night and cannot listen to that damn song again, even though it was a really catchy song. The sad thing is, my dad didn't say his last words to his family, but the nice thing is that he passed away quietly. And that's it for the story. I'm really sorry if the story's too long or too boring. It's fine. It's really heartfelt. I really want to thank you guys for making this podcast. Like I said, you guys are one of a kind. Keep on creeping on. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. It's those types of experiences are really difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
And we appreciate you sharing it with us.
I think so many people
Gosh darn K-pop.
Right? I think so many people have a story where something weird or coincidental or something that like signaled them that something was up or something was off or something was wrong.
Yeah.
That you just didn't know what it was until afterwards. So it's definitely something that is shared out there. So even though it's one of those things where it had to be so hard to write and it's so hard to remember, you're not alone. You're absolutely not alone. So thank you for sending that in.
Yeah,
we really
thank you so
appreciate
much.
it.
Yeah, so everyone, thank you so much for joining us. You guys are awesome. We had so much fun, like we do. Each week we do this. So what else do we usually say?
For any of you who want to share a story that you have with us, please email storytime@scarish.com, or you can go to our website, scarish.com, click on Contact Us, fill out that form, and send it our way. We'd be more than happy to read it on the show. And if you're just looking for someone to talk to, just let us know, like, hey, I don't want to share this. This is just for you guys. We get those a lot. It's not a big deal. We're absolutely willing to listen. So go ahead and send it to us. You can reach out to us on our social medias. We have facebook.com/scarishpodcast. If you're there, also join the Spooky Friends group. We have a lot of folks in there. We post a lot of stuff. It's always really, really funny. Someone posted the other day and just said, like, just want to thank everyone in this group for always posting stuff that makes me laugh because it's just hilarious.
Sometimes
stuff all
people
the
have a
time.
bad day.
Yeah.
And memes cheer me up for sure.
Funny stuff is funny, and it's nice to see. So thank you to everyone who has joined, and if you haven't, go on there and join. You can also send us messages at @ScarishPod on Twitter and @ScarishPodcast on Instagram. And we're going to announce the winner of the contest that we ran for a full month, where if you commented on the show every time it released on any of our social medias, basically bugged your friends to start listening and shared it, you got an entry. We have a lot of them to calculate. Then we're going to spin them in a big wheel, and we're going to announce it on episode 94. So stick around for that. Robin, for the folks who want to give us their money, how can they do that?
If you folks want to help support us and donate to us, you can go to patreon.com/scarishpodcast. Those are monthly donations. We have tiers starting at $1. I am trying to think of other things to make like different exclusive content for you folks over at Patreon. And I want to start pumping out a whole bunch of new things. Right now, I have a poll up for choose your own adventure tiers and above. And that's for choosing what serial killers I'm going to cover for the month of October.
It's serial killer month for Robin in October.
Serial killer season, yep. So if you folks want to go and choose the topics that you'll be hearing from me this October, go ahead and head on over there and vote, because those are awesome. If you want to do one-time donations, you can go to coffeeko-fi.com/scarishpodcast. And those are one-time donations that help upgrade our studio setup and will help upgrade the computer that we run absolutely everything off of. So
it is picked out. I'm ready to go. We just need a little bit more funds, and we're going to pull the trigger on it. Here's the deal. We've had 2 weddings that we've gone back to the Chicagoland area for on our own dime, so I don't have a lot of my own money to put into this, but everything you folks donate just sits there and waits, because we're going to make sure everything you donate gets put towards exactly what we say. We have another wedding to go back to for the beginning of October, so a lot of the money that I had personally decided I was going to dedicate to the rig, I'm now putting towards airfare. And then when we get back, I'm probably going to just pull the trigger and order all of it at once, because if you order parts piecemeal for a PC and something winds up not working, sometimes you only get like 14 days to return it, and then you're just stuck with it. So we're like right there. Once we do that, we're probably going to start doing a lot more game nights, because I had a lot of fun this past Friday the 13th.
It was really fun.
And even if Robin can't do it because of scheduling
we'll probably
conflicts,
have friends come join us too. Like my sister wants to play games with us, things like that, and we'll just have a whole bunch of people come and play. It'll be cool.
Yeah, and if I ever have to play alone, I'm just going to ask anyone out there with Friday the 13th to jump into a private server and we can all play together, because that would be super fucking fun, because I absolutely love that game.
Or that spy game.
That game is pretty fun too, but if we're streaming it, they're going to know who I am every single time. So Spy Party is the name of that game. Check that out. It's a good time. But that said, thank you so much to everyone who sent us stories, everyone who watched, everyone who listens. We appreciate and love every single one of you. And I think that's just about everything we have for Storytime number 84. So, Robin, do your thing, girl.
Keep on creeping on, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.